Doing. Hopefully everybody's doing well this morning. This is another live stream from your boy P9. This is the first time in quite some time that I went live in consecutive days. So I went live yesterday from Ditto Island.
Hello, Moto.
Decline that phone call. Yeah, this is the second time in that I went live. I went live yesterday from Ditto's Landing right here in Huntsville on the Tennessee River. And now I'm going live once again this morning from the crib. So yeah, I'm just waiting for some people to come into the live and we can get into this topic of discussion. I'm gonna talk about travel talk. I'm gonna talk travel talk, potential spots and places that I'm gonna visit in 2026. Yeah, and we're also going to talk about Memphis and what the state of that city now that after in the aftermath of the deployment of the National Guard troops in that city, and a lot of people feel safer in that city now. A lot of local residents said it themselves, went on record and said how much safer that city is. It's like they have not seen the city of Memphis that safe in decades. Like it's been that long. So we're gonna talk about that. But yeah, Tina Marie, welcome to the live. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're doing well this morning. I enjoyed the discussion that you and Ryan had yesterday on the live. Very insightful live stream. So thanks for tuning in this morning. I hope you're doing well this morning. And yeah, but yeah, we'll wait for a few more people to get in here. Then we're gonna get into it. But yeah, 2026. I plan on hopping out, getting out there, traveling some more. I'm plan on venturing out to the West Coast in 2026, getting some footage out, places like Arizona, New Mexico, possibly Utah. I want to do a Pacific Coast Highway trip out in Cali. Those are like, definite plans for 2026. Good morning, Tiff. How you doing this morning? Yeah, so far the day is going great, Tina. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, Colorado. Oh yeah, how could I forget Colorado? How could I forget Colorado? Nah. I definitely would like to go to Colorado. Definitely. I definitely would like to go to Colorado for sure. Yes, for sure. Especially the Denver area. You know what I'm saying? And like I want to go to yeah, man, it's a lot of cool spot. I want to go to the Four Corners. You talking Tip now? Tip gonna give me a hard time. Tip gonna give me a hard time because I said Utah before I mentioned Colorado. Oh goodness. Nah, but I'll definitely want to go to the Four Corners. I think it's where Arizona, New Mexico, what is it, Colorado and Utah, if I'm not mistaken. All four of those states meet up. That's definitely where I would like to go. What's up, Precious? Precious in the building. Precious in the this morning. Yeah, I was just over there, Trisha Nicole's live. Y'all were over there. So Tiff says, Precious, you followed me. You a stalker and I like it. And Precious says, Tiff sure am. Yeah, man. We be live hopping. You know how that go. Yeah, man. But yeah, that's pretty much what's on the agenda so far. I mean, I'm gonna also do some spontaneous stuff as well. Just out of nowhere, just do some spontaneous. But like those are the places that I know for sure I would like to visit in 2026. You know what I'm saying? Like for sure. Yeah, definitely. Want to see some mountains, like some snow-capped mountains. I want to visit snow-capped mountains. I want to see some, you know what I'm saying? Because yeah, we got mountains out here in Alabama, but they're more like foothills down here. You know what I'm saying? I want to see some mountains, like the Mountain West, the real deal mountains. You know? Yeah. Go out to, like I said, Pacific Coast Highway out in Cali. You know, I want to check that out. You know, like I think Pacific Coast Highway, that's like one of the most underrated parts of California. And everybody hit up LA and everybody hit up, you know what I'm saying, the Bay and everything like that. But people be sleeping on the Pacific Coast Highway though. You know, Pismo Beach, uh, Santa Barbara. I think Santa Barbara's on that highway. Uh, you know what I'm saying? San Luis Obispo. It's a whole bunch of dope spots on the highway on the Pacific Coast Highway. You know, but the Pacific Coast Highway does also run kind of like close to LA, but yeah, that's where I want to. That's that. Those are just a few of the ideas that I have. I always wanted to visit the mountains. Yeah, the mountains are gorgeous, very peaceful. A nomadic introvert did the Pacific Coast Highway. It was cool. I bet it was. I'm gonna check that. I need to check that out. I need to check that out. I need to check that out. I always wanted to do a. I didn't. The only part of the Pacific Coast Highway that I've ever visited was Pismo Beach. That was it. But I always wanted to like do a like a drive, like a thorough kind of like a drive just along the highway and get that scenery. Stop in a few of their cities and towns and check them out. Yeah. But those are the few places. Um, Still want to get out to Texas. Still want to get out to Texas and everything like that. You know, if I can get to the Dakotas, especially South Dakota, where all those where the a lot of those Native American like reservations and like those areas out there, all that Native American history, the Lakota and the Indian tribes and all that, where that history is. Yeah, a lot of people, quite a few people have been wanting me to go out there check that out. So yeah, I got a lot of stuff. I got quite a few things on the horizon for 2026. Still gonna do a little bit of vlogging. Obviously, I'm gonna continue to do vlogging to close out 2025. We only got like what two and a half more or about 2.5 months left in the year, or a little less than 3 months. So yeah, you know, but yeah, but to shift over to the what's going on in Memphis. Uh, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are aware that the National Guard was deployed out in Memphis due to Memphis's ridiculously high crime. And it's been a lot of people who, in the aftermath of the deployment of the National Guard, a multitude of arrests, a lot of criminals getting rounded up, taken off the streets. It's a lot of people that have been interviewed. Like I'm talking about genuine like people, Memphis residents, no AI, no nothing, just actual people. You know what I'm saying? Responding by saying, "Look, we can for the first time in as many as 20, 30 years or whatever, for a long time, this is for the first time people were able to walk around that city and not hear any type of chaos. Like You know what I'm saying? No gunshots going off in broad daylight at night. None of that. People can walk to the stores. People can go outside. The kids can go out and play and do all of these type of things. Things that they weren't able to do for a long time, due in large part because because of all the gang activity and all the drug activity and everything that you would expect in Memphis. That those are the things that were deterring a lot of people from just living a normal life. And I'm really glad to hear it. Now, anybody, if anybody knows anybody in Memphis or from Memphis themselves or know anybody personally who has any associations with the city, put a one in the chat. Um, it's really good news. It's really good news to hear that Memphis crime has drastically dropped thanks to the National Guard being deployed there. Hey, good morning, Bambi. Good morning, Bambi. I appreciate it. I appreciate and enjoyed those adventures. Those videos. With me and Lopez in the RV. Those were hilarious. And yeah, your boy was in there wilding out. Yeah. A few people in Tennessee. Yeah, yeah. Faith Marie. Faith Marie is from Memphis. Um, I think Tina's from Memphis too. I think Tina Moe is from Memphis, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Tina Moe is from Memphis, and yeah, Supreme from Chattanooga. I enjoy putting you in there. You stealing wing sauce and causing all type of chaos. Yeah, that's what made it so funny, man. Oh man, and Mama Diablo was pissed too. Mama Diablo was pissed. Stealing wing sauce. I was turning up in there for real. Yeah, Supreme. Yeah, Supreme's from Tennessee. Yep, he's from Tennessee. But he's from I think, yeah, Supreme from Chattanooga. Yeah, Supreme from Chattanooga. Hmm. Yeah, Mama Diablo wasn't playing with us. She wasn't playing with me or Lopez. Then they had the bikers. Then you had the bikers coming after us. I was like, wow. Well, we be on some adventures for real. Yeah. But yeah, man. The Meat Motorcycle Club. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I really that was really nice to wake up to that this morning. We fought the cartel at the Alamo. Some New York bikers ain't nothing. Yeah, yeah, man, them cartels. Yeah, when we was at the Alamo. See that was a real battle. Like for real. Yeah, the cartel. Yeah, but those are some well thought out, well put together stories, and it definitely get a laugh out of them, especially the narration, everything from the animation, the narration is something else. It is something serious for real. And we over there riding through a blizzard in New York, in upstate New York, man. That's crazy. Lopez was mad too. I'm over here. Lopez was pissed. I'm over there trying to be optimistic, and he over there like, nah, man. But yeah, in a busted RV, right? And then the damn engine running hot, and the oil, no oil in the bad boy. We all jacked up in the snow. Anurag, what's going on? And all right, it's been a minute, but welcome back to the live. Welcome to the live stream. It's been a minute since I've seen you on here, but at the same time, I haven't been doing a whole lot of live streams either lately. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been on here as consistent as I would like to have, but and nevertheless, I appreciate you for tuning in to the live. Yeah, Lopez always he always serious in these cartoons and stuff. We're gonna see how you handle the mountains in Canada. Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be treacherous right there. That's gonna be treacherous. Yeah, it has been a yeah, it was a month ago exactly. It was a month ago. Yeah, but it was yeah, it was yeah. Yesterday I went to yesterday I went out and did a little vlog, and they also did a live stream from yeah, I remember you. I remember you. I think it was that one. Now I can't remember exactly what the live stream, what we talked about in the live, but I think, matter of fact, I don't. I'm trying to remember exactly what we talked about. I think at the time you were kind of going through some stuff. I could be talking about. I could be talking about the wrong person, but I think you was kind of, you was feeling kind of down, or something like that. You was feeling kind of down about some stuff, but I was trying to keep you from, just trying to keep you basically trying to keep you just in the right frame of mind, you know. Where's your next stop? I see maple syrup heist in your future. Where's your next stop? Your next real life big adventure? Yeah. Well, yeah, we should link up in Arizona. Like I said, I really would I'm planning on doing a trip to Arizona. And then hitting up like a lot of those mountainous areas in the Mountain West, like in Colorado, Utah, what else? New Mexico. And yeah, and I also want to go to the Four Corners. Want to go to the Four Corners Monument. Um, yeah, yeah. The spring will be a good time. Actually, the spring will be really good. Yeah. Ryan, that would be a good link up. 'Cause I think Ryan's planning on moving to Arizona. So yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah. BD's out there in Arizona too. Yeah, that'll be a cool link up. That'll be a really cool link up for real. Yeah, Tombstone, Arizona. Yeah, yeah. That seemed like something up your alley. That would be a cool place to visit though. Yeah, yeah. Oh, he's moving at the end of the month. Okay. Yeah. That will be a nice cartoon adventure too. Bambi for real. Yeah, out there in Arizona. Yeah, there's like it's so many, man. It's so much content just in Arizona alone. You know what I'm saying? Go see the graves of some old outlaws. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool because that was out there and on the mountains, the Mountain West. There was a whole bunch of them outlaws and them OK Corral Western type, um, them saloons and all that other stuff. It's a lot of that out there. And yeah, I was when I was in Louisiana. When I was in Louisiana, I visited the spot where I visited the spot where Bonnie and Clyde and had that where Bonnie and Clyde were taken out by the what you call it, by Louisiana locals and the Texas Rangers and everything out there outside of Gibbsland, Louisiana. And then, I also visited Arcadia where they had a bunch of newspapers clippings in the city, in like the little park or whatever in the city. That was pretty cool. Hmm. Yeah, Doc Holliday, Birdcage, yeah, and some historic native figures. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's so many. Yeah, it's so much in Arizona. Like it's so many much of that in Arizona. I plan to take you back out to Dexter, where Buck and Lance got arrested, and they got shot the first time. Oh wow, dang, that's out there in Iowa. Yeah, a lot of history. Yeah, yeah, they was taking over here in America. Them outlaws, they was doing the thing. They was taking over, especially all across the country, especially down in the West Coast and down south. Pretty much all over. Did you know Tombstone was the first metropolitan city that had oyster bars there in the desert? Wow, I had no idea. I had no idea. Dad, that's dope. That's pretty dope right there. Oyster bars in the desert. Dad, that's really that's crazy. It was real classy from what I gathered. Okay. Yeah, you just gather that you go there, you go there and you get all dressed up and whatnot in the desert too, of all places. That's interesting. Yeah. That by going out to Arizona, as a matter of fact, that'll be my first ever experience in a desert, in a desertous area. I've never really been to the desert like that. It wasn't as uncivilized as Thai and movies want you to think, or as TV and movies want you to think. Yeah, yeah, for real. Like they do that, and they do be exaggerating too. They be exaggerating a lot of times in these movies and stuff. Like they have they might over sensationalize certain things. Like in certain in the media, like they'll you'll have what's historically active, and then they'll take it and just take it to a whole nother. They'll just basically just be stretching things, stretching the narrative and everything like that. Yeah, it was murder capital at one point in history, but it was an upscale city. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of these they had some sophistication to it. Yeah, some sophistication to it, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really cool. It's really interesting once you learn about these places. You really learn a real story about these places because you know it goes it basically brings out the truth as opposed to something that's just overly exaggerated. They want you to think it was a lawless shithole, but in reality, it was competing with New York. Dang, that's saying a lot right there. That says a lot right there when you talk about it in comparison to New York for sure. Yeah, what I find interesting too is that when you look back at the old days, like the early, the 18th, in the 19th and 20th centuries, and all these type of things, or the early 20th century, the mid to late 19th century, all these different times in history, and you look at certain cities that are that are like fully developed now. You look at those places and you look at them in comparison to where they were like way back then, when they was, some of the like for instance Vegas and LA, places like that. You look at how major populated they are now, but back then how they were mostly small towns. You know, it's just crazy. Yeah, yeah, they had to pay people to go out west. It was undeveloped food, animals, etc. Indians, yeah, absolutely. Undeveloped land for sure. Because it was not, yeah, it was nothing out there. It's like people don't realize that before the highway systems and before all this development, it was nothing. It was just bare. It was barren land out in a lot of these places out west. The government was paying people and begging people to move west. It was uncharted lands. Exactly, exactly. That's saying something when the government have to pay the people to move there. you know and the travel there, I could imagine the travel back then. It was treacherous. It was no, like I said, it wasn't, there was no interstate, like it was no interstate highway system. It was no, like, they had trails they had to travel, and those trails are treacherous, especially on certain terrain, on certain terrain. And like, there was no cars, no automobiles, you know what I'm saying, no trains, no like real fast way of getting there, like none of that, no railroad tracks. People had to get out there either on foot, or they had to use those little those buggies or whatever them things were called, you know and yeah, that heat and no water, like you said, no water, food. The death rate at that time was what, 30. Most men didn't live past 21, I think, back then. Yeah, you had the diseases, the smallpox and the TB. Yeah, it was just like, I couldn't imagine living back then, man. I couldn't imagine living back then. That's crazy. That is crazy. It was just the death toll was so insanely high when you think about all that they had to go through. That trek across the west was extremely treacherous. You know what I'm saying? That's why people, like, you know what I'm saying, these folks today, they better, these people today should be grateful that they have a developed highway system and all these roads that you could travel down, paved roads, railroads, and all this other stuff. Because back then, you, traveling from one city to the next city was hard enough. Imagine traveling across from one region to the country to another. It was like crazy. What up, Ryan? My boy Ryan in the building. What's cracking, man? How you doing this morning? Yeah, we was just talking about Arizona, and we was just talking about Arizona, us potentially linking up out there, you know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, that is so true, Ryan. It's so many ungrateful people here in America. A lot of entitled individuals. People that are so entitled. It's insane, man. They feel so entitled to things. It's just like, man, y'all don't realize how good y'all have it compared to a lot of people back in the old days and in other countries and other underdeveloped countries and all this other stuff. Yeah, have a real life cartoon event. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's gonna be one for the books for sure, man, for sure. That'll be dope. After the holidays, when the money's less tight and less stress and the weather isn't deadly, yeah, you absolutely right about that. The holiday season is brutal when it comes to like the bread. Like I'd be like, man, like for real. But everything, it seemed like everything starts to ease up. Like you know what I'm saying? After like around springtime is like it seemed like when everything starts to ease up and the weather starts really getting better and everything like that. Look at other countries right now compared to here. Yeah, it's awful. It's absolutely just treacherous. It's awful. I ask people who moved here from other countries if they plan to ever go back, and they always say, "Hell no, you crazy!" Right? Say they come to America because they know America is going to provide them a much better, a much stable, and much more peaceful lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, here's the thing: with all these people, all these folks talking about, like this country, I mean, compared to other places, this country is like, man, this is the third. A lot of people come from third world countries too. A lot of them come from third world, war torn countries, like in places where you don't even have freedom of press, freedom of speech, none of that. Like you don't have any type of freedoms, no type of, you can't express yourself, none of that. Like yeah, this. Mm-mm. You could, at least here in America, you have the freedom to, have, you might have a disagreement as far as, your stance politically and all this other stuff, but at least you have the right to have that over here, to have discourse and everything. Over there it's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's crazy. Dict- all these folks, they like to sit up here and talk about this is a dictatorship. Like this ain't no dictatorship over here. You go to other third world countries, a lot of them, those are actual dictatorships. Like, no democracy or nothing. Like, so, but yeah, y'all. I'm glad I could get on this live stream this morning. Like I said, this is the first time in probably at least a month that I've been on live for 2 consecutive days. It would be just like it was so much inconsistencies of my in my live streams as of late, but I'm gonna try to be more regular on here because I like chopping it up with you guys. It's really we be having some really dope conversations. We're talking about history, talking about the present, supporting each other's content, having just really really dope conversations. It's really cool. Yeah. But yeah, I can't wait to Arizona for real. Can't wait. I cannot wait. That will be that would be really cool, like a content creator meet up, so to speak, content creator uh collaboration, meet up, mash up, whatever you want to call it. That'll be cool. It's like a pretty nice day out today. Probably get outside, and maybe do a little bit of drone, practice the drone. Well, not practice, but fly the drone a little bit. Fly the drone a little bit. It's beautiful weather. I love the fall. I mean, it hasn't really fully been fall yet here weather wise, because we still have our days where it's hot. And it's crazy because it's like it's mid-October and it's still like blazing hot. But hopefully we really, really get into the fall weather, the thick of fall, like here pretty soon. Yeah, so oh yeah. It does. It does. As a matter of fact, I posted a video yesterday. For the video I posted yesterday was the first time I actually used my drone in a video. Um, yeah. hmm It was pretty cool. It's pretty cool flying it. I tell you one thing though, I always make sure my phone, my phone, my remote control, and the drone itself is fully charged. I always make sure it's charged at 100%, just in case. I'll be like, yo, I need all that to be fully charged so that it won't get stuck up in the air somewhere, and then it's like, that's a whole nother issue. That's the biggest thing I'll be making sure of. Yeah, y'all. I'm glad. I'll be so glad to. I'm glad to hear that. Like I said, back to what we was talking about with Memphis. I'm glad to see that Memphis is that they're seeing results and the city's becoming safer. Um, because I always said this about Memphis. Like Memphis, if they could just clean up if they could just clean up their streets, get the crime, and and make the neighborhood safer, make the city safer, that will bring in a lot of investment. That'll bring in a lot of investment to that city. Memphis is just off of historical value alone. Memphis has a lot of historical value. It's in a premium location when you think about it. It's right there on the river. It's on the Mississippi River. They have a really nicely developed riverfront park. I've actually visited there before. And it's like, man, it's crazy that the city that has this much historical value, that actually looks very presentable, has a nice location, just, physically, the physical attributes of the city is really nice, but it has that much, all that crime and everything has really did a number on that city. And, a lot of people it's made it to where a lot of people would just avoid that city and just go. If they want to visit Tennessee, they go to Nashville, Chattanooga, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, basically anywhere but Memphis. And that's caused the city to lose a lot of revenue. You know what I'm saying? And especially in the tourism section, because but by them, by this act of the guard going down there and basically cleaning up the streets for all the crime and stuff, making it safer. If they can maintain that safety, keep it that way, and change the way they vote, stop voting any sleazy politicians who just let these criminals run the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like if they could just keep it that way, then Memphis could be a very prosperous city. It could be a very prosperous city, like for real, for real. They just got to keep that up and again, make it to where there's investments in the city. Um, there's already a museum being built, like right there on the Mississippi riverfront, the Brooks Museum. I was actually looking on Google Maps, as a matter of fact. I was looking at the different parts of Memphis, like just right outside of Memphis on Union Avenue, just right outside of downtown Memphis, I should say, just east of this other city. Like they have some little areas where, like, if they develop that area, and especially it being so close to downtown, it can bring jobs and a lot of traffic to that area. They keep it safe, bring a lot of traffic to that area. A lot of businesses can invest and actually thrive over there. But at the end of the day, it just needs to be, the number one thing that's going to deter investment is crime. If you have safe areas, people will develop. People will invest. And that's the biggest thing. Like, I'm saying all this as if I'm from Memphis, but it's not even about me being from there. It's about me, you know what I'm saying? Like, really, like I've seen that with a lot of cities that have potential. They have the history, the historical value, and the geographical value. But at the end of the day, the biggest problem is the crime. You know what I'm saying? And it's really good that Memphis is hopefully, they, like I said, they keep it safe, then they can make strides towards the next, making that city a really, really dope city to visit. And it has the potential to be that. So shout out to the National Guard, and the residents, the law-abiding residents of the city of Memphis. You guys continue to thrive and make that place to where people will want to come visit. You know, yeah. So everybody just won't have to uh circumnavigate the city and go to Nashville or Chattanooga or anything like that. I mean, you could still go to those places. I mean, you could still go to those cities, but once Memphis becomes safer, you know what I'm saying, which it has become safer these past couple of weeks. It's going to be to the point where people could go visit. People could go visit and you know give Nashville some competition. But yeah, I'm gonna end the live stream right there. It's about a 45-minute live, so I think that was a pretty good live stream. I might get back on here later on today. If not, I'll be back tomorrow. So until then, guys, peace. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for chiming into the live, and see you guys on the next one.